So today on All Me Artists, Andrew and I will be working with Game of Thrones Legends, a free-to-play mobile game set in the world of Westeros. Assemble a legendary team of iconic characters from the show, including Jon Snow, as you battle your way to the top of the Iron Throne. Throughout your adventure, you'll unlock new champions, special abilities, and powerful weapons and armor, including the devastating Slender Dagger. Once completed, I'll be flying to the Game of Thrones studio in Northern Ireland, where I'll show off our work to some of your favorite influencers on Game of Thrones Legends talk show, hosted by Deerstalker Pictures. Check the description for date, time, and where you can watch this exclusive live stream event. There's a lot we have to get done before the talk show, so let's get started right away. Andrew's going to be starting from a railroad anchor. This is a piece of material that we get from the railroad that is underneath of the track down inside of the rock area that keeps the track from moving excessively. These are 1075 steel and make very good blades. Even though he's primarily forged this blade to shape, we're going to have to do some grinding. We'll do some profile grinding and then begin to create the edges. It'll just have to be one of those things where we spend some time to get the final form that we need for this blade. Typically, you see us heat treating in a gas forge. Some of that really is because it's expedient and it's very large. It allows us to put the big swords in it. But when we're working with daggers or things that are a little bit smaller or even shorter swords, we go to the electric kilns where we can control the temperature. And the reason that Andrew's heating it up and letting it cool is to normalize the material. This will take it and kind of refine the grain structure internally on the steel and make a much higher quality piece when finished. The design of this piece actually is almost like a large stiletto where the handle itself appears to be all metal. Certainly what we could have done is we could have made it in wood and then, put a brass covering or gilt it in gold on the outside. But since it had the look of an all-steel stiletto, we decided that that's how we would deal with it. So since I'm freehanding, I'm using both hand wheels and moving the cutter in and out at the same time, as well as left and right. And you have to really take some time to get smooth transitions. So I do it quickly and it leaves it kind of rough, and then I'll come back in and refine it as much as I can before I do any sanding. Often when we're cutting the fuller in the blade, you're going to see us up on a milling machine or the CNC machine. One of the ways that we can get around that is we go directly to a narrow shaped wheel on the grinder and then we sand it in. So Andrew, now using a file guide as a stop, goes to one of the smaller sanders that's set up with a platen. The platen is a hard backer on the back of the sanding belt that allows you to do more detailed, very clean, flat work. He'll change the belts a couple of times to go from coarse sanding belts to something that's finer to create a much better finish. Even though we're going to be doing some forging for the quillions or the ends of the guard, we wanted those pieces to match. So I'm going to go on the lathe with some material and cut the rough form that Andrew's going to be able to forge from. It's also going to give us a nice clean transition where it will mount into the quillion block, which is the center section of the guard itself. Often on these smaller parts, you'll see us use a torch when we're kind of localizing heat and things like that. But with this induction forge, which we have, which excites the material and brings it up to temperature without any flame, it's actually really great in the summertime when it's really hot in the forge that we can do this kind of hot work without having a lot of heat in our face. We're going to be using a stock pommel that we kind of have on the shelf. It's very close to what we see in the game. Andrew's going to take that same narrow wheel that he cut the forward into the blade with, and he's going to draw designs using the sander, actually cutting them right in over top of the lines that he laid out. Since the entire guard handle and pommel of this are golden, I mean, obviously we could have painted them, but let's use a more traditional blacksmithing process where we heat up the material and then we take a solid brass brush and brush it over the surface. The elevation of temperature at the tips of that brush onto a already hot piece of steel will permanently lay brass onto the surface. Andrew and I started with a railroad anchor and forged a dagger any smith from Westeros would be proud of. Now it's time to get this dagger prepped for the Game of Thrones Legends talk show in Ireland, but not before we show it off. Thanks for watching. You can see more of the Slender Dagger during the exclusive Game of Thrones Legends livestream event, available to watch on Deerstalker Pictures channel or the YouTube Live section. Check the description for date and time. When you're ready to find the original version of the dagger, go ahead and download Game of Thrones Legends and use my link to receive special in-game rewards. Click here to subscribe, or click here to subscribe to Baltimore Knife and Sword. Click the video to see more here on the All Me channel.